All three of them are part of the Right India project. The Right India project is our very unique crowdsourcing for stories project that the Times of India has launched with 11 authors. The 11 of them being Amish, Ravi, Ashwin Sanghi, three of them sitting here. And apart from that, we have Chetan, we got Preeti Shinoy, we have Tuheen Sinha, we have Joy Datta, Jayashree Mishra, Ravinder Singh, Anita Nair, Madhuri Banerjee. I think I've said a lot, 11 of them. They are partnering with the Times of India for a short story contest. We are like 5 months into it and we have about 15,000 stories with us. And quite a few of them are beautiful, very good stories. This is like we have 11 authors, 11 winners, 11 months. But we thought when we started off, we'd say 11 stories as well. But now I think I have to say thousands and thousands of beautiful stories, which we still have to figure out what to do with them now. We would have given you a short, beautiful AV that we've created, but unfortunately it's not possible here. It will be playing in some of the other halls, which you can catch it at. So we have here with us Amish Tripathi, banker turned author, who has made a successful, lucrative career of this unique mix of history, mythology and philosophy. We have Ashwin Sanghi, who juggles between business and writing and has churned out successful thrillers ranging from theological to business with a historical twist. And sitting in the middle we have Ravi Subramaniam, the banker who stayed a banker and wrote banking thrillers till the love bug bit him and suddenly he started writing romance. We have to ask him why he's doing that. So starting with Amish, and we want to figure out, how do you search for your stories? Do you write such beautiful stories how do you get your inspiration? And when you are dealing with, in your case of course, it's all in there. You are writing mythological stories, you're taking off from there, so the structure is there. But what inspires you to choose what you do and what you do with it later? And do you really have tricks up your sleeve on how to make these stories as gripping that people keep waiting and panting for more and more?
I think if I give away all the tricks up my sleeve, then I'll have some problems because I need some secrets kept alive so that I can keep writing. But I think honestly, the way I write is, I know it might sound kind of movie-ish, but I don't try and search for stories. It's almost like they come to me. Even today, I still can't explain it. I open the laptop and there's a parallel universe that just opens up. And I just describe what I see. I can actually enter that world. I see the characters, I feel their emotions. And for me, in many ways, that world is as real as the world we're in right now. That's part of the fun of being a writer.
It's interesting, a lot of authors say that, that we just sit at our tables and maybe they go into a kind of a daze and it almost seems like some outside force is helping them along. And they think of ideas which when they snap out of the days, it seems like Amish just said, ye kaise ho gaya. Ashwin, does this also work for you?
Honestly, no. For me, it's much more structured in that sense. And in fact, Amish and I were talking about it once. But for me, I actually do sort of spend a little time in terms of trying to make a story come true. Generally, it will always be something that happens, like an incident which will trigger a thought. And unlike Amish, who is fascinated by mythology, I am actually not that fascinated by mythology. For me, it's that wonderful overlap between mythology and history, and really think about it, take the word myth and take the word history. Put them together, what do you get? A mystery. So I think for me the possibility of that grey zone, I can't remember who said it, but that there is something in every believer that is itching to doubt. And there is something in every atheist which is itching to believe. Now if you can write a story which causes that itch for both groups, then I think you've done your job. So that's pretty much what I go out looking for. It always starts with a what if. What if this were true? Or what if this were false? And then once that hypothesis has been established, then the story comes.
So your mind kind of keeps sticking all the time, and when you hit upon an idea
Yeah.
that really gets you interested, then you sit down and think about it. Ravi, we know where you got your inspiration from while you were writing your banking thrillers. We don't need to ask you that, but what we really want to know is that where did you get your inspiration for writing the romance that you wrote? A lot of people tell us that he's written from real life, he's taken incidents from real life. Don't know whether they are his or somebody else's. Because what his story talks about is a young author, an unsuccessful author who wants to do well, and she latches on into a popular successful author. And yeah, maybe it's Ravi, we don't know. And right after this, and then this guy, he has an extramarital affair with her. So right after the book has hit the stores, each author, everybody is out there trying to say that no, it's not me, it's somebody else, it's not me he's writing about. So interestingly, he's given not so subtle hints in there, talking about some author, some big author who also did a reality show, and some pretty not at all subtle hints.
Most of my stories are inspired from reality. That's a fact. In fact,
Said it.
most of my stories, be it in the banking front or be it the one on the romantic intrigue that I just written, are all inspired by reality. But that's true for most authors, except for people like Amish who write about mythology. I think most of the writers who write contemporary fiction, people who write about stories set in the current era, are inspired by real life incidents. To me, fiction is nothing but just an exaggeration of facts. And that's what many people do. In my banking thrillers, I've spent 20 years in banking. So for me, I've seen how transactions happen, I've seen how frauds happen, I've seen how relationships pan out in the banking industry. I built all of them into my books. It's been 8 years in the publishing industry for me. So I've seen how authors function, I've seen how publishers function, I've seen how the relationship pans out, I've seen how authors manipulate, I've seen how
Why are you pointing this way?
okay, I've seen how authors manipulate. So I thought and I wanted to move out of the banking industry per se in terms of writing a story on it. So that's when I said, okay, what do I write about? And I'm a very lazy author. Lazy author in the sense, I don't want to do too much of a research. When I wrote about banking, I didn't have to do too much of a research. So what's next best? I write about publishing, where after 8 years I don't need to do too much of a research. And there's so much out there in the world about the publishing industry. You know, somebody does a reality show, somebody takes over bookstores, somebody, manipulates the bestseller list. There are a lot of things happening in the publishing industry. So it's like a writing industry. You can actually do a lot of thriller-based stuff in a publishing industry as well. So I decided to write that. And then, when I moved out of the banking thriller, the next best emotion was romance. So, and a middle age.
He thinks the man does protest too much. But we'll move back to Amish now. Amish, from you I want to know, is there a secret formula to being a bestseller? I mean, why is it? You really, I'm sure Shakespeare couldn't have been the only guy who could have possibly written as well as he did and such a substantial matter material as he did. There might have been somebody else who was not discovered. There might have been another M.F. Hussain in the making who was not discovered. There might have been many other such artists and all authors who may be better at writing but not done so well. I want to know, why does a Chetan Bhagat and an Amish Tripathi sell so well, much more than a lot of other authors put together?
I don't know, man. Okay, seriously, look, as far as writing is concerned, I don't think you can predict audience taste. I was, my first book was rejected by every single publisher it was sent to. I quasi self-published my first book along with my agent. He's here somewhere, Anuj Bari. Anuj? There he is, yeah. So Anuj and I, every publisher rejected my first book. And they had very valid reasons. That look, it's based on a religious theme, and religious theme books weren't doing well. So they said this book has no more selling. And that's why it was rejected by every single publisher it was sent to. We stopped counting after 20 rejections. Then because he self-published it, then well, the first week itself it's a bestseller chart. So you can't really predict audience taste. So I always advise writers, don't think about writing a bestseller book. Just write the book that appeals to you as an author. Whether it will work or not, God knows, you can't really predict it. But that's the writing part of the process. The writing part has to be pure, you have to write it with the purity of your heart. Then there is the marketing part of the process. There are many authors who don't take marketing seriously enough. I don't know how many of the audience, how many of you guys want to be writers or are writers? My God. Are there any readers out here? Okay. Yeah, I also believe every good writer must be a good reader. I strongly believe that. But all of you who are writers, there are many writers who think that their job is over once they finish the book. No, it's not. You know, just another job begins at that time, that you have to market your book properly. A good book doesn't sell itself. I read a lot of books. I read at minimum 4 or 5 books every month. And I can give you a long list of books which should have been bestsellers, but they didn't become bestsellers because they weren't marketed properly. So you have to take marketing seriously as well. And that's something that our industry is learning only now. Our industry didn't really take marketing seriously till a few years ago. And that reflected in the sales. It's a noisy world. People are distracted by so many things. You have to make your message heard. You might really love a book, but if you haven't heard of it, how the hell will you pick it up and buy it? So there is the writing process which must be pure. You should care about the audience of the market at all. And then there is the marketing process where you have to be pragmatic and driving. So you have to be kind of like a schizophrenic.
Ashwin's winner is also right here with us, and we would like to call them one by one onto stage so that they can be designated by the author that they wrote for. Awesome stories that they gave us. Amish was like, swept away by the story. Shutapa Basu, may we please have you on stage. She is the one who won the contest for Amish for TOI Right India. Given us a passage which was very much his kind of a passage, and lots of people had to work really hard on it. So I was amazed at the number of stories we received and the expansive imagination. So that was amazing. And then Ashwin Sanghi, his Vinakina Shri is also here. Again, a beautiful story. Ina, can you please have you on stage? Ina has come all the way from Lucknow today morning just for this. Shikha, can we have you back on stage, please? Ina, just stay. We just have a picture with Leela and Shubha working with them. Ravi's winner will be announced on the 15th of December, and after that we hope to have another opportunity. And Chetan's winner is in Mumbai, so we will be giving away the award in Mumbai. I thank you very much.